All right, let's finish this podcast. We're on to November. Unfortunately, we did lose Josh and Kyle. That's what happens when you take 8 months to talk about a whole year worth of podcast. People start to come and go. Yeah,
They've died. They died of old age.
Yep.
They waited. They waited just long enough to talk about Pokemon before they passed. Anyway, we're into the final 2 months. We've only got 4 games left to talk about, so let's get through them. November is probably got the 2 biggest games for us anyway of the year. So let's start with Super Mario 3D World. For the
You mean Adamant Ditto's biggest game was not Pokemon?
No.
Oh, really?
Nope.
You may be surprised to know that we play other things, folks.
Yeah.
Not many, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, 3D World was incredible.
Super Mario 3D World is... it's hard to say between that and The Last of Us, but I would probably call it my game of the year. It's so
What an
good.
odd decision to have to make, though.
Hey, I'm a very varied gamer. I play them all, man. I play them all.
Well, it's like...
Gotta play them all.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Super Mario 3D World is the next big Mario game, the next 3D Mario adventure, and coming off the heels of like Super Mario Galaxy, it's definitely a much smaller game, but I don't think that makes it that much worse of a game. It kind of takes the Super Mario 3D Land engine of sorts from the 3DS and just kind of upscales it for the Wii U and adds 4-player multiplayer and 5 playable characters. I guess they're not new, but
yeah,
5 playable characters. Yeah, that's true. And technically, 2 of them or 3 of them are new for a 3D Mario game. So.
Not Luigi.
No, yeah, but there's 5 playable characters.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I thought you totally excluded her from the list, saying that she was new playable anyway.
No.
Peach, Toad, and Rosalina.
Yeah, those never been
What
playable.
about Captain Toad?
Well, Captain Toad.
Yeah, Captain Toad kicks ass.
Best character.
I love the Captain Toad minigames. I wish they would just make a eShop game of just Captain Toad level.
Captain Toad for Brawl.
Yeah. Captain Toad for everything.
He's already in, bro.
But I love Super Mario 3D World. I think the level design is some of the best like in any Mario game. Just non-stop fantastic every step of the way. Like every world, Nintendo's so good about this. Every world or level, they're introducing you to something new, something exciting that and somebody could build a whole game around. Like the double cherry is my favorite thing about this game. The double cherry is fantastic. I love the double cherry. Anytime it shows up in any level, I'm so excited to play it, especially on like the top-down like shooter levels. Oh, they're so good.
Mm.
But the double cherry, I think, you can make a whole game about that. But instead, they're just like, now we're gonna use it a couple times. It's gonna be great. We're gonna move on to the next great thing. Like I think that's, I love this game.
Yeah, but like every level is like that. Pretty much every level is, here's a new concept, play around with it, and then it's over in like 300 seconds.
Yeah.
Or less.
Yeah.
Well,
It is. It's totally interesting. And like some representative of Nintendo said that when they were showing off the game, like right after it came out. And that's the thing that's so interesting about this one is like it has like themed worlds, which people have been getting really tired of from like the new Super Mario Brothers games. It's like, grass world, desert world, ice world, but it's like that barely matters because like the levels within those worlds are just based on whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah, there's only one snow themed level in the ice world.
It's like the worlds really aren't themed. It's just like the overworld that they're themed. The levels are just all over the place, and I love that about it. There's like candy levels and ghost house and pirate ship and water and beach and
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. They Japanese like mansion. They just kind of like do what they want, and it leads to some really memorable, fun, creative levels rather than just Iceland.
Yeah, that's the biggest strength of this game is the levels. I haven't had the chance to play it multiplayer yet, which is a shame because I feel like that's the way to play it. So somebody else will have to fill me in on that.
I think that it totally holds up just on a single player experience alone.
Well, obviously it does. I called it my game of the year. but
Yeah, we were talking about how Pokemon had a weak single player. This one, I don't think the single player suffers at all. But the multiplayer is fun. I played it with my mom and dad, and like, you know, they don't play a lot of video games, especially platformers. In my mom's case, she's always hated them because like she can tell where she's going to land. But it's still really fun, you know. I mean, it's like New Super Mario Brothers in 3D, which if
I was
you
going
like.
to ask how close it is to the new Super Mario Brothers games, because I love those and playing those multiplayer. That's one of the most fun experiences I've ever had with a game. And is it comparable to that?
Oh yeah, it's extremely similar.
All right.
You can like bubble up if there was like a player who's worse than everybody else. You know, you can steal power ups. You can be a dick and like throw them off the ledge. It's very very similar, but in 3D. And with a little bit more exciting creative levels than in the new Super Mario Brothers games, I would say.
All right. Very cool.
The other thing that I wanted to mention. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on.
I really like 3D Land a lot, but it just felt sort of, you know, by the numbers, to use that phrase again. You know, it was kind of like Game Grumps, who I don't often agree with or even respect, but they called it iPhone Mario, and I kind of agree on a slight level about 3D Land, because like the levels are just, you know, kind of colorful and weird like Mario Galaxy, but they never had like a core. I don't know. It felt very like
empty.
Play a level. It's really short. Here's the next one. You know, it's good.
It was like Mario Land in 3D.
Oh,
it's
called
very
3D Land.
It's very good.
Yeah, but if you play Mario Land, it's kind of butt.
Well,
I wouldn't say that 3D Land is butt. I think it's
I think it's very good.
It's very good. It's just very. There's no risks. There's no like really
safe.
Boundary pushing. Yeah. And 3D World feels a lot more realized. There's bosses that are different than just, you know, boom boom and pom pom. There's like different sorts of hazards and all the kinds of crazy power ups that are used in creative ways. When I found out from like the trailers that the Mega Mushroom was going to be in it, I was kind of like, why does that, like, what are they going to do with that? You know, I was kind of like, does that need to be there? But the way they use it is really cool and fun. Like, there's a pirate ship level where like it tilts like based on your weight. So when you have the Mega Mushroom, it's like, whoa, it's going fucking all the way down because you're so heavy, and like you have to kill these like the bullies are back, which I think is awesome. Yeah,
there's a lot of enemies back, like Charging Chuck.
Yeah,
the best enemy of all time.
But what I was gonna say was like when you have the Mega Mushroom, the bullies like are pushed back further by you bumping into them. You know, it's just I think all the power ups, none of them felt like they were like wasted potential. You know, they all feel. I mean, like we said, sometimes they just kind of throw them in and move on, but they all feel like they really had fun with playing around with the power ups, and so did you.
All right.
Yeah,
like the baseball.
Yeah,
it's just like you can throw a baseball at people. It's like, okay, what the fuck? And then there's like one level where it's like one of the mystery houses. It's just here's like 6 really short little challenges to do with the baseball.
Yeah,
it's surprisingly fun.
Yeah, I think that's so well implemented. It's everything about like just everything about it. It's fun, and I love the different characters. Like all of them have different play styles, which is which is new for like a 3D Mario game. I mean, Luigi like slip and slide or slide it around in, you know, Galaxy or whatever, but like now like you can play as Peach, which is basically easy mode because she, you know, can float across gaps. You can play as Toad, who's basically hard mode because he jumps the shortest. You got Rosalina, who
you play as who is easier mode.
I don't think so.
Really.
I actually don't like playing as Rosalina very much because she's so slow.
She's
Yeah,
very
got an attack and a double jump.
The attack double jump combo is pretty strong, but I don't know that double jump is more useful than floating because you get a little more distance from Peach's
I think
floating.
Peach is still the more useful character in the long run. but like it's just cool being able to play as those, 5 different characters. I always play on random. Like I'll just let the game pick for me, unless I can't beat a level,
Yeah,
and
that
then I just
feature
play
is
as Peach.
really cool.
So
I love that you can pick a random character. I think that's great.
yeah, it's not my favorite 3D Mario game, but I think if you were to like think of what a 3D Mario game should be, I think 3D World is kind of it.
All right.
Yeah, like I don't know. I'm this kind of the same way. I don't know if I could say that it's better than either of the Galaxy games, but it's just so much pure. It's like pure distilled fun that it's like I almost want to say I enjoy it more, even though I'm not really sure if I do. It's like it's just so much fun that I when I play it, I don't think like this isn't quite as good as Galaxy 2. I just think, man, this game's great. Like.
Yeah, because it is.
It occupies kind of a weird space where like you play it and you just forget about every other game while you're playing it.
Yeah. Right now, it's the
You think the
definitive
next one-
Wii U game.
Yeah, if you have a Wii U, then you should get this game. And
Absolutely.
in fact, I actually recommended 3D World to somebody. Like he was gonna get a Wii U for his daughter, and this is like a purely PlayStation guy. Like he went out and bought a PS4, but was like severely disappointed with it.
What, you got knack on day one?
No, he got Battlefield, so
Oh, so he
that's
compared
even
it
worse. Yeah, but he got a Wii U, and he played 3D World with his daughter, and some of his friends and stuff like that. And he said he enjoyed the Wii U way more than the PS4
Yeah,
Wow.
because of 3D World.
it's
So the 3D World is the definitive game
All right.
to have on the Wii U.
like Ricky said, it's just pure distilled fun. Like it's such a video game.
Yeah, totally.
It's when you
Totally.
It's the video gamiest video game.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you think of a video game, this is it. Super Mario 3D World is what a video game should be.
Can't wait till they add Yoshi to the next one.
Yes.
Then they add Boshi to the next one.
Boshi.
3D Yoshi.
You need to make another one where you can play as Wario and Waluigi.
Yeah, fucking hell yeah. They just need fucking an expansion pack, just more levels.
Yeah.
Oh, I like 3D. With 3D Land, I wanted like DLC levels and stuff like that, but they just came out with 3D World instead, and I was like, all right, like that is my expansion to 3D Land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it's
All right.
I think it blows 3D Land out of the water, personally.
So do you think if they added like Wario and Waluigi that each character would be different enough to give it its own play style?
I mean, all they got to do is like give Wario a tackle, like a running tackle thing, where you could like just run in a straight line.
So everybody feels kind of different.
yeah, that's all it is now.
The 5 that are in it already feel very different from each
All
other,
right.
which I
Cool.
like.
even though they
'Cause, like,
they
even in
still
Mario
all
2
basically play the same.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like there's jumps that can't be made as Toad, because that would just not be fair. But it's trickier,
Right.
You need a little more of a running start. You need to be a little more careful. They did a great job of making the characters distinct, but still, all kind of the same.
Cool. All right. Good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it does feel kind of like Mario Brothers 2,
It
where
feels
they're all
very
pretty much the same, but
yeah, but they all have their little differences. It feels very
Yeah.
much like that. Yeah.
that's
Oh,
clearly
okay,
what they
nice.
were going for.
They're all clones. No, just kidding.
very cool. All right.
It's
Great game.
yeah.
I want to say, like, even though I've played this game pretty much purely multiplayer, that, like, I think this game there's no problems with it, personally. I've been saying that.
Yeah,
Ricky says there's a couple problems, like nitpicky problems, but I don't think so. Whatever.
Literally the only like bad things I can say about it are super nitpicky. I'm not gonna act like I'm coming in here super, video game journalist. Like, well, actually, there's a lot of problems with it. No, the only bad things I can say are really nitpicky. But I do have a few. You want me to pick nits for a couple seconds
Pick
here?
some nits.
Go for it.
I don't like that you have to exit a stage to like change characters. I think it would be better if, like, every time you died, you got the option to change characters. Because, like, if you're in a really hard stage as, like, Toad or whatever, or Luigi, and you can't beat it, I think you should have the option of, like, let me try it as Peach, instead of having to, like, pause, exit the stage, wait for the world map to load, and, like, who cares about that? Like, that's such a non-issue. But that's, like, the only bad thing I have to say about it.
You know what you can do? Is pull up a second controller, pick the character you want, and then bubble up the first controller.
Yeah, I guess.
But that would require 2 controllers, and I'm sure like you'd want to just play with a gamepad.
Right.
And that's another thing. Actually, they give you support for class controller, pro controller, and just regular Wiimote, and I think nunchuck as well. So,
yeah,
all the controls.
Yeah, you can pretty much play it any way you want, basically. It's good. This might have just been me. I might just suck, but I felt like there were a few times during the course of the game where I would like miss a jump or like not time a jump, not necessarily time it, but like get the angle of a jump right, because I felt like it would have been better if it was in 3D on the 3DS.
Yeah, I felt that a lot too.
Because
to be honest,
it's very clearly based on 3D Land. Obviously, it's got the same damn title,
Sure.
but 3D Land is designed to be played with the 3D on the 3DS, and so many of the jumps rely on that. Like, you have to get this like sense of depth that you don't get on the Wii U version. And there were a few cases, very very few, that I ran into that where it was like, well, this would have been better if it was on the 3DS, but I don't think that's necessarily a flaw of the game. It could just be me.
I can see that. I personally never had that happen to me. The developers, I don't know if it was in Iwata Asks or where they said this, but I remember reading that like they purposefully decided against like real time like shadow rendering so that your shadow would always be underneath you, like to help you make jumps like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, and like I think that was a smart move, because like even well before this game, going back even to the N64, like my dad he would always say like like watch where your shadow is, like to find where you're gonna land in the 3D space. So like yeah, I personally never had a problem with that. But I'm not gonna say. I mean, I could see how you would. I didn't personally. Something I wanted to that you just reminded me of was I saw a couple of reviewers. I don't know who off the top of my head. I saw a couple of reviewers saying that like sometimes, you know how you run in a straight line and then you build up like the dash thing.
Yeah, I'm not a big
you
fan
get, like,
of that.
Sudden burst of speed. I'm not either. I saw reviewers saying that it kicked in at the wrong moment and they ran off a ledge. Personally, that never happened to me.
That's
But
their
I
fault.
just, I mean, when you play the game for like 30 seconds, you know how long you have to run to get that boost. It's like that never happened to me personally. But I just as a mechanic in general, I don't feel like it was that necessary.
Yeah, I think they could have just had a run button. Like, why did it have to build up speed?
I mean, it does have a run button, but it like.
Yeah, but you
just
boost randomly at times. It's just I don't know. It's not a very
Yeah,
necessary mechanic, I don't feel.
Yeah, again, super nitpicky. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Even in 3D Land, that weirded me out. How it's like, do we need that?
A run button?
No, not the
the
run
run
button.
button.
Like the burst of speed after running for a couple seconds.
In 3D Land, they had that?
The Sonic boost.
I don't remember that. I gotta
Um,
replay 3D Land.
Also, one last thing I want to say. This game is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This
Oh,
game
it's
looks
beautiful.
so damn good on the Wii U.
Very, very colorful
So
in HD
pretty.
and all that. Looks great.
Sounds good too.
Yeah, the soundtrack is incredible. It's very jazzy.
Maybe the best Mario soundtrack of all time. Can I
Wow.
just go ahead and say that? Maybe the best.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you on the maybe, because it's tough to write off all the rest of them.
No, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
write off all the rest of them. I mean, obviously, Galaxy and Yoshi's Island, so many good soundtracks. But like, I don't know, man. Every single tune is
This
just
one's really
so
good.
good.
Yeah, it's
All right.
phenomenal. I completely forgot to mention that.
Yeah, it's so good. It's such a good game. Like, I'm having a hard time like coming up with things to talk about. It's so good. Like, it's just fucking. If you have a Wii U, play it. If you don't have a Wii U, buy a Wii U and play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this game was like the most least sold Mario game to date, I think.
It's because it's on the Wii U.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
But it's also like the only reason really to buy a Wii U.
Yeah.
And that should be good enough reason, because this game is fantastic.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely the best
Except
game.
I don't have a Wii U. Sorry.
It's one of the best Mario games. One of my favorites anyway. Best game on 3DS. Best game of the year.
Awesome.
3DS.
Yeah, it's on the Wii U.
Speaking of Game of the Year,
Let's move
Yeah.
on to a game that actually came out the same day. Nintendo's
Yeah.
other big franchise. The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds for the 3DS.
the second of the 2 games I played this year.
Yay, go ahead.
Alright.
And you talk about
Start
it.
us off.
Oh, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I've kind of been disillusioned with Zelda ever since Wind Waker, really. I just kind of have been kind of bored with the franchise for the same reasons I got bored with Pokemon. It was just kind of the same thing over and over again. And even though this game was intentionally the same thing over again, they put a fresh spin on it, and it looked great, and it played great, and it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. I don't know what it is that makes this. Maybe it's just pure nostalgia that made me like it more. But
No, I know exactly what it is. It's a different. It's very different from other Zelda games with like the items and the dungeons in any order, that whole thing.
there's no hand holding.
There's no hand holding. There's no like the items, are used in one dungeon, but it's not like the formula up until now has been always, find an item in the dungeon, you use that item for the rest of the dungeon and on the boss.
Yeah.
And like this one is
And then you
not.
access the next dungeon.
Yeah, this one is not. It's a completely. They really like took apart. I feel anyway. They looked at Zelda games, and were like, it's time to kind of shake things up a little.
Yeah, like what's the
Right.
core of the Zelda game, and
Yeah.
what's the fat, and they just fucking trim all the fat.
I think
Yep.
they were very careful about it, though. They didn't like they took the game apart and like looked at, how can we shake this up? They didn't just like introduce, you're a wolf now.
I
don't
think
Right.
that's probably why they went back to A Link to the Past, because that's the first game that really cemented what we would then recognize as the Zelda formula.
Yes.
So they went back to say, okay, here's where Zelda was going. What could Zelda also be like?
Alternate timeline.
Yeah, exactly. In an alternate
Yeah,
universe.
I can see that. And
Link to the Past is like, I think the game to choose to base it on. Like Link to the Past was already like sort of structured in a way where you think it could be open world, like with the 8 maidens, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but yeah, they make a lot of improvements from Link to the Past that I really appreciate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's just better.
I'm gonna lose some nerd credit here, but I was actually never a huge fan of Link to the Past.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a huge
I
fan
think
of
it's
it
a
either.
great I think it's a great game. Don't get me wrong. Like I have a tremendous amount of respect for it, and like I still like it a lot. But
Mhm.
it's among my least favorite Zelda games. Just
Really?
I don't know. I didn't really grow up with it for one thing.
Yeah.
So there's no like nostalgia bias towards it. And I just feel like there's a lot. It's very long, and like that's not a problem. But I feel like there's a lot of fat in it, like Phil was saying. Like Link Between Worlds is a pretty short game, but what I loved about it is there's no like BS. It doesn't waste your time with anything. It's like, here's the dungeons, here's the bosses. Like, hope you like them because they're really good. But if you don't, like, I got places to be.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know, because
And
it follows kind of the same beats as the Super Nintendo one. You have the 3 dungeons in the light world, and it goes to the dark world, and everything's open to you. So
yeah, but
I don't know.
But the addition of like fast travel and just like being able to do whatever you want, like
Yeah.
and
Well,
really
Even the way
fast up pace.
even the way the dark world is not low rule is
Right.
presented as like one big puzzle to try and figure out how you can
Yeah,
actually
it's
get
just neat.
to the dungeon. Or if there's like one mine that's like sticking out the wall, you think, okay, so I'll go back and then find a way that I can go across and come out,
Right.
come in. And it's like, that's like, they took, okay, you've got like bullshit puzzles from like Twilight Princess or whatever, and you like da-da-da-da, you get like fucking half a heart piece. No, just fucking, you don't need that. Just stick it on a shelf and see if you can get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was really worried that it would be gimmicky like the last few Zelda games.
I was
And
too. I'm sorry.
Wasn't. Oh, it ended up being a really cool little mechanic, and I'm glad it didn't overshadow everything in the game. It wasn't necessary for every little thing you did. Like, you only had to use it at certain points. It wasn't like Wolf Link, where suddenly you're forced to be a wolf for 30 minutes of the game, and you're like, this is fucking horrible, and I hate it. You turn into. You get sucked into the wall, you go around a corner, you pop out, boom, done.
Yeah.
It's quick.
I love the wall painting mechanic a lot. And
too.
I love the Maya Mayas by extension because of how it uses it. You have to figure out, like Phil said, to figure out how to do it.
Yeah. I adore the way they implemented that whole thing. I went in, when I saw it in the trailers, I was like, I thought it looked really cool. It looked like there was going to be some creative puzzles drawn from it, but I was worried. I was concerned going into this game because it looked like it was going to be like the flipping the world into 3D from Super Paper Mario.
Yeah.
Which like is really cool at first, but after a while it just makes you paranoid to flip in every conceivable room to see if there's anything there, and there never is anything there. But it's not like that in Link Between Worlds. It's not like that at all. It's used in very strategic areas, and it's not such a...
It's in the game, but it's not the focus of the game.
Yeah, but like becoming a painting does not completely change the way that you see things. I mean, it gives you a new perspective, but it's not...
Right.
You get in the head of the designer. This is when great games like the Donkey Kong Country games do this, where you kind of like... The game is built in such a way that as you go into a room and you think like, okay, if I was a designer, like what would I put on this wall here? You know?
Right.
You get in the head of there, and that the puzzles are all designed around that, and it's so much more fun and conductive to exploring than the Super Paper Mario thing was.
It makes you feel smart. The game makes you feel smart for figuring things out that you were supposed to figure out right at that moment.
Yeah.
I think it does that really well.
Yeah, it's a lot like Super Metroid in that way. Where
Yes.
They sort of disguise like pivotal, important, crucial things to progress as like things that you've found and snuck past the developers. It's
right, you think you're getting one over on them, but it's exactly what you were supposed to do.
Brilliantly.
It also lends itself to like actual puzzle solving, which has been almost entirely absent from like every Zelda. Where it's just like, oh, you got the hook shot, okay, so it's not like solve a puzzle, it's just, can you use the hook shot properly?
Right.
But with the wall clinging, it's like, oh, I see, you actually use it to solve puzzles, not just as the solution to the puzzle.
There's so many things that, I mean, Zelda and Mario have both suffered from like a watered down kind of thing lately where, they introduce a gimmick and the whole game is based on that gimmick. But in this Zelda game in particular, you get rid of a lot of that. It sidestepped it with the wall painting thing. And then in every Zelda dungeon, as soon as you find an item, you use that item.
Yeah.
But in this one, because you have access to everything, you're not quite sure which one you have to use, so you have to think about it. It's not just, oh, I have the hook shot now, so let me just put that on and blow through everything else in this dungeon. It's, okay, so what weapon should I use here? How do I get this rock away from this window on the wall so I can get the light to shine down on the floor tile,
Yeah.
And it's like, I have bombs. I forgot I can pick them up. Let me use that. After I've already gone through the hammer and the hook shot and I can't figure out how the fuck to get this off the wall.
Totally. My favorite thing about the game was that every time I was frustrated by something, every time I found out that it was my fault.
It was me overlooking something.
Yeah, the main thing, not offender, but like the main thing that I was really frustrated in the lava
sand
dungeon.
rod?
No, and I thought the sand rod was awesome, but in the lava dungeon I was really frustrated because I couldn't figure out how to work those like seesaws.
Oh yeah.
And you have to freeze them. Like, duh. That's how.
Yeah.
That's the item for the dungeon is the ice rod that you had to have to get in there.
It's so funny because that's something that I would think of to like you do in a Zelda game. If I got stuck on that, I would be like, well, why the fuck doesn't the ice rod do this? And games have conditioned me to be like, it doesn't work that way. You have to figure out the gimmick. And so you don't think about it. And then you do use it just on a whim. And it's like, oh shit, that's exactly what I was supposed to do. So it's just...
It's such a... The game is designed so well to make you feel smart even when you're being stupid. Like, it's such a... It's one of the best Zelda games.
Yeah.
I think...
Period.
Conceptually, I'd say it probably is the best. I think it gets everything right except the difficulty. It's like the entire... It's way too fucking easy for how they designed the game.
But, I mean, that's not a horrible thing. I enjoyed it, you know.
Yeah, very, very enjoyable. But I think if it had been so hard that I was like legitimately scared for my rented items, instead of just being like, oh, 2 hearts, but a chug a potion.
Exactly.
I went and tackled like the ice dungeon like first. So like I had to go through the mountain shit with all those like fire spitting line guys.
That was
those
the worst
guys are tough.
Yeah. So those guys took quite a bit of hearts away from you. And there's also hero mode, but that comes after the game.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the again, like the Pit of 100 Trials thing, where you just have to go in and survive.
Yeah, that was really
battles.
awesome.
That was neat.
I got to like the second to last level or something like that, and I died. So I was like, "Fuck this!"
Well, you missed the upgraded lantern.
Yeah, it's a weapon now. I think it's as strong as the fully upgraded sword. I'm not sure.
Really? Oh, that's funny.
Is it really?
I did like 2 seconds worth of training. Obviously, it's got like much shorter range, and you can't spin attack or anything.
It's a lethal joke weapon.
Yeah.
No, but that was my game of the year, kind of by default, but it was just a really great game. I enjoyed it a lot. It's one of 2 DS games that I got, well, 3, I guess, and it's awesome. It made me happy that I had that DS, that 3DS.
You say by default, but like I would never sit here and argue with you about picking that as your game of the year. I think it's
absolutely.
Well, I mean by default because I've only played 2 games on this list.
No, I understand. I know. I'm just saying, like, I think it's worthy of that spot.
Yeah, no, it was a great game. And part of me is like, oh, you made a Zelda game the game of the year. But you know what? It was a really well done game.
Yeah.
I agree. I've always wanted another 2D Zelda, and then they gave it to me.
Yeah,
so.
I think if I...
I mean, it's in 3D, but it's like overworld. Not overworld, over the top, excuse me.
Down, yeah.
If I would think of like what would be like the perfect Zelda game, A Link Between Worlds pretty much hits every point.
Yeah, no,
if I want to take the best parts from every Zelda, it has all of them, except it's just a tiny bit too easy. But then I haven't played on Hero Mode, so...
Yeah.
If I play it on Hero Mode, it might become my favorite Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even then, you have to beat the game to get Hero Mode.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. But on paper,
if I'm going to nitpick, there are a couple little things that bothered me. One of them is just that Ganon is completely useless in this game, but they still feel the use to use him anyway.
Hey, hang on. I'm going to disagree with you here. I actually loved that because what always happens in every Zelda game is you have a bad guy, and then fucking Ganon comes in and just outs them and becomes the main villain. This was the first one that didn't do that. It's like you have a bad guy, and then they bring in Ganon, and I'm like, oh great, here we are, here we go again. They bring in Ganon, he's going to take over, and then the game's like, no, fuck you, we're not doing that this time.
Spoilers, I didn't even know Ganon was in the game.
Yeah,
sorry. He's barely in the game.
Yeah,
right. Because they take hit power over him, so.
I legit didn't see that coming, so I loved that they.
Me neither. But at the same time, it was just an excuse to use something that looked like Ganon, I think, without using Ganon. I think, spoilers, by the way, I think it would have been way cooler if Hilda was, the final boss.
I thought,
just would have been...
from trailers and stuff, I thought they were going to do the twist that, like, because, like, Yuga's obviously the Dark World version of Ganon, and Hilda's obviously the Dark World version of
Zelda.
So I thought there was gonna be a twist that Yuga was actually a good guy. Zelda was really the bad guy, but you can't go into a game trying to predict twists like that. Cause
No, you can't.
You're always going to be disappointed. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, and the other thing is even a more minor complaint is that fucking whenever I had to travel, I had to talk to this stupid witch. And so I would select a place to travel and then, put my game down for a minute while it makes the transition and go do something, and I come back and the message box is still up and I'm like, oh shit. So I don't know. But that was the most annoying part of the game. Yeah, no, it was. It's totally nitpicky.
I tweeted to you telling you that you should have saved the witch last. That way.
Yeah,
it doesn't talk to you.
Just a fucking broom taking you again.
Yep.
I liked Maple though. I found myself wanting to save her.
Yeah,
because you don't know until you go in the dungeon. You don't know which sage is in which each one. You know. So I found myself. I was like, when am I going to get to Maple? I was like, she's in trouble.
Maple, though.
Oh, sorry, you're right.
It was
Irene.
Yeah.
Right. It was fucking Maple.
Been Maple. Yeah, let's be real. It was Maple.
Sorry. You know what I mean though. I found myself
yeah.
Because she's really the only one that you interact with in any meaningful way before she gets kidnapped. So
and there's some really tough puzzles in that game too. Finding that master ore in the room where you have to flip the wall panel around.
The dark runs, yeah.
Oh my god.
That I literally never found that until after I beat the game. I was like, I'm never. I was so sick of trying to get to it that I just went on,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I looked
it
up
too, and then
because I was like, if I leave, I'm never gonna get it. But yeah. But I mean, I liked it. It was devious, and it's not something I ever would have thought to check, which is strange. But no, it was a great game. I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. Game of the year.
Game of the year.
Already said. Is it your game of the year?
I want to say it's my game of the year.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I was about to call you out for having already said it, but I don't think you did. Now that I'm thinking about it, so. What sucks is that people have left, so when we get to the end, we can't do a recap of everybody's.
Yeah.
Game of the year.
I know Kyle's, but I don't know Josh's.
I'm sure.
So.
We'll have to ask him.
What is Kyle's? Pokemon?
This is Fire Emblem, just like mine.
Josh's is probably Pokemon. It's probably 3D World.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Are we going to skip right to December?
Yeah, let's just skip to December. Josh isn't here to talk about Mario Party. Sorry. It's a board. It's a board game.
Just know that Mario Party's not good. Yeah.
It's not good.
All right.
It's not good.
December we have The Walking Dead. I assume season 2.
Yeah, although I didn't actually, I didn't play season 1 until December.
But you played the first part of season 2 because it's not all out, right?
Yeah, just the first 1, maybe 2 episodes are out.
I think it's just the first one because now they're working on The Wolf Among Us.
That's kind of strange. Cause the idea with episodic games is that, especially with something like The Walking Dead, where it's player choices will have drastically different consequences, which is something that I really, really enjoyed playing the first season.
Something Pokemon should do.
Yeah, exactly. I thought, okay, I'll just play it through. So I had the luxury of playing through the entire first season in one go. And then I played the first episode of the second season that came out. And then suddenly it's now I have to wait with everybody else to see what happens next. Because they have, it's obvious. It's somebody got bitten. Do you want to A, save them, or B, shoot them? And it's it's dumb, it's a video game, and inevitably at some point they're going to have to get rid of the character, because you can't just fucking have something that 50% of people will never ever see in the game for throughout the entire thing. But it's really, really enjoyable to see, even if it's just little minor one sentence, just how your choices affect the characters. But then it's sort of strange that they release, okay, we're doing season 2 of The Walking Dead, and we're going to stop that because now we're doing The Wolf Among Us. And at some point, they're going to stop that because they want to do a Game of Thrones and a fucking Borderlands series.
Yeah, so
Wow.
there's only going to be one part of The Walking Dead.
I know, so now I have to fucking wait forever to find out fucking what happens.
Actually, the new episode, of The Walking Dead aired tonight, and I think there were some commercials for the new season or whatever.
Of the game?
Nice.
Airing, yeah, of the game airing on it.
Nice.
But I had it muted, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Are you gonna actually talk about The Walking Dead though?
The game.
Like the actual game, aside from like making some choices and stuff.
Well, it's like a point and click, right? Which Telltale is sort of like the only.
Yeah.
They're
the only
still
thing they
making
do.
point and clicks.
They're the new LucasArts.
Yeah. And it's like it's not too tricky. Telltale, like they made the Sam and Max games and the Strong Bad games. Well, they're pretty easy. Yeah, Back to the Future. So popular franchises, kind of kid friendly, a little bit simple on the puzzles, which is good for adventure games like that because it's a very fine line between like a little bit too easy to solve a puzzle and like fucking use cat hair on mustache, like just retarded. Like how much fuck am I supposed to do this? So they sort of subverted the entire need for that by having so much emphasis on dialogue choices and the characters talking to each other and how their relationships between each other will change depending on what you do. Which is what, because I hate fucking zombie shit. I've seen so many like zombie films now. I'm so tired of it. Which is why I put off playing The Walking Dead for so long, even though it was a great many people's 2012 game of the year.
Yeah, that's why I haven't even looked at it, because I'm just like, I'm over zombies. I don't care.
Yeah, but the way they've handled... Because it's not about zombies at all. It's all about the living characters and how they interact with each other and they form relationships and alliances. And, some people in the group don't like each other. You have to pick sides. And then, oh, no, someone's got bitten by a zombie. What do I do? It's really, really interesting to see how they've taken not only a tired zombie mechanic, but also a practically fucking deceased point and click mechanic and merge them together in a way that's totally new and
So
very
the point and click franchise has come back from the dead, you would say.
yeah.
If you were a trite asshole.
I would say that, yeah. At least until the fucking
I like
the
how
Borderlands
everybody had the
series
same
drops.
reaction.
That got a much worse reaction than my amnesia joke.
Admittedly, they were
come on,
both
it should be-
awful jokes.
It should be expected by now.
I guess now we're just more tired, so we're less forgiving.
Shut up, David. Go to bed. Oh, man.
Do you know anything about The Wolf Among Us?
I know nothing
Yeah,
about it.
we don't got time to talk about that shit.
I don't
Okay,
know.
I was just curious.
I know that there is a wolf among us.
'Cause it has us in it, and it has the in the beginning.
Oh, for the Last of Us.
I was like, for half a second, I was like, we're in a game?
No.
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 Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
All right.
that's enough of The Walking Dead.
So
Yeah.
Phil, worth playing, even if
Definitely.
you're sick of zombies?
Definitely. I was so sick of zombies. And
Alright.
like point and clicks are kind of they died for a reason. So they took the focus away from like puzzles. There are still a couple puzzles, but it's mostly about the dialogue choices.
Cool.
I'm actually really interested in Broken Age, so
Yeah, I started playing that as well, but that didn't come out in 2013, I don't think so. Never mind that. Never mind that.
All right.
Next up,
final
another game that
on
you
the
played?
list.
So yeah,
Yeah.
the last game
Close out the year.
with
NES remix.
NES remix.
Yeah.
A game they announced and released on the same day.
That's right.
Yep.
It must have taken whole days.
Literally minutes to make.
Yeah,
Made it the same day they released it.
yeah, it's cheap. It's a load of NES games, and they've taken little snippets from them, whether it's like entire
WarioWare.
levels, like say like, oh, how fast can you clear the bonus game from Mario Brothers, or
Good ball.
yeah, how quick can you get 1,000 points in pinball? Or fucking, maybe it'll be like, kill one enemy in balloon fight, and it's fucking, you hold right, and he fucking kills him, and it goes ding ding, okay, now kill 2 enemies, and you hold right, and then you jump, and it kills him. So it's really, 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 really simple stuff, and they've picked really, really simple NES games to do it from. Like, you won't believe how fucking bad the NES pinball game is. It's like so shit. It's not a good
I used to
pinball
love
game
that
at
game.
all.
That's my whole.
course you
That's
did.
my whole thing. Is like most of the games, if not all of
I
the
heard that,
games in NES Remix, they have not aged well. Like it's kind of highlighting like their old failures.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Sorry.
Not that Mario Brothers and Donkey Kong are failures. It's just that like they're old, and like I don't want to play them today, even if you spruce them up with some drop shadows.
Well, they spruce them up about as much as they can.
Well, they
I mean-
they pick like it's all early Mario NES games.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
there's
Yeah.
no like Super Mario Bros. 2 or like even for as old and as not they haven't aged well, but there's no like Metroid or Kid Icarus. They're none of the newer games, so it's like
Right.
all
It's all the black box stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's room for a sequel, basically. Is what they.
They're all arcade games, and I guess that makes it easily translatable to a Wario style thing where it's you play it for 5 seconds. But you're saying you don't want to play it. I want to play those games every once in a while, and if this is a way to play them with a new spin before I can get sick of them, then I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah, because with those games, a lot of them, they're so simple that there's sort of no reason to play them today.
I don't know. I still like simple games.
Yeah. But here
I
it
can play-
takes like the core elements of the game. Like, what do you actually do in Balloon Fight? And then they just say, okay, how good are you at playing Balloon Fight?
Right. Yeah. But like when I would play Super Mario Brothers 3 with my little brother when we were younger, we would play the Mario Brothers game in the game for hours. We would just go back and forth and play that. And it didn't get boring for a while. And so I like that I can kind of relive that in a new way,
Yeah.
But I haven't played it, so I don't know how they handle it, but I like it in concept.
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
It's fine. Like it channels a little bit of that Rayman Legends like challenge thing where
Yeah,
it's like
definitely.
you want to top yourself and your friends. I think it's a bit pricey personally.
Yeah, it is a little much, especially since you get some of the games are so simple. It's like you're playing them in their entirety, just with all like the in-between parts cut out.
Right.
But still, it's like, if I'm going to be playing like pinball and NES, like how quick can I get 10,000 points? Why don't you just let me play pinball and NES?
Right. From what I saw,
better
I
deal
think that
than-
they should
Go on.
better deal than what?
The virtual console.
Oh yeah. I was going to say, if they're going to do this, they should do more things like they have the one where you play as Link in Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
there's
should do
really
more
only
unique
a
stuff like
few of
that.
those.
Yeah, a lot of the remixes are really simple.
Right.
Like, some
And
of
it's
them
stuff-
are kind of like so subtle you don't even realize them. Like,
Right.
a lot of them are you play a Mario 1 level, but Mario is always running forward.
Right.
And like for the
And
first
Art's always
3
doing
times,
that.
I didn't even realize it was happening.
Yeah.
And
But
it's
if they did something like they put you in the Donkey Kong 75M stage with the balloon fighter, and it's like make it to the girl, where you have the springs flying everywhere, that would be cool. I would be interested in that. But I've done it with Mario 400 times.
Yeah.
If I wanted to play Donkey Kong, I'd be playing Donkey Kong. Give me the old stuff with a new spin, I guess is what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I thought I was getting, and they've done it like the bare minimum that like they could have done.
Yeah,
to make it feel
they can
like
advertise
actually
it.
did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like there's really only a couple of like Link in Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Remixes. There's like
They should let people design mini games for it.
Yeah, that would have been really neat,
Yeah.
but also well outside the scope of what they were trying to do.
Well,
Yeah.
probably.
Bastard.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Yeah.
I think it's
alright
worth
for now.
mentioning
I'm
that
not
this
sure if
game was made by the Retro Game Challenge people.
Yeah, it's got a
Retro-
very similar vibe to
Oh, yeah?
Retro Game Challenge.
That's pretty cool.
And they played it on Game Center CX as well.
I saw that.
Nice.
I think it's definitely that sort of game. It's a game that's nice to have, and you think, oh, we'll put on NES Remix, and we'll play a couple challenges, and we'll see who can get the best score. Or whatever.
Right.
But actually, having to sit down and okay, I've got fucking 20 balloon fight challenges, I've got fucking 16 urban champion challenges. It's like,
It's like, fuck it, I'll just play Smash Brothers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd rather just play balloon fight than fucking see how fast I can pop 10 balloons.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. Good way to end the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Urban Champion, of course.
As all
it all
great
comes
years
back.
end. Yep.
Always comes back to Urban Champion.
Always comes back to
Um,
Urban Champion.
I know we
Anyway.
talked about... Oh, go ahead.
You guys can feel free to finish up and do all that stuff, but I got to work tomorrow, so I've been up
shit.
way too late.
All right.
So
Thanks for
I'm-
joining us.
I'm calling it quits.
right.
Happy 2014, all you viewers out there in the YouTubes.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to us ramble.
Way too long.
Also,
We're
happy
in-
Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, yay!
It's going to be like mid-April
And
by the time they hear this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I hope you enjoyed
no,
that
I'm gonna get it up as quick as possible.
These will go up.
I'm gonna get,
these
All
will go
right.
fast, yeah.
Well, happy Valentine's Day.
and good night.
Night.
Reggae.
See ya.
Matt, I know you or somebody mentioned that at the end we should all, name a game that we played maybe for the first time this year and say what we thought of it.
yeah, you can go ahead and do that.
Do
That's
we want to do that?
yeah. Try not to be too long though, because we've already ran on
Nah.
super long.
All right. I only have 3 really. I did Crisis Core. Ricky told me I should try Crisis Core, the prequel to Final Fantasy VII. It's plays kind of like Kingdom Hearts. It's nice. It's fun. I mean, it's a little bit fan fiction-y, and it's a little bit
Yeah, the story's bad.
yeah, it's a little unnecessary, but it's okay. It's fun. It's got some interesting mechanics in it. It's worth a shot. I also picked up for the PSP Jacandia, which is I don't know.
actually
It's
have
like
not heard of that one.
really, it's you play as a person and you go in and you fight enemies and you pick up weapons and stuff. It's like a little dungeon crawler, except you give yourself a time limit, and the more time you give yourself, the better weapons and drops and stuff you get. And you have partner characters who all have a different weapon type, but it's just really simple and it kind of loses steam really fast. And I got to the last boss and I was like, I don't care, so I just haven't played it. And the last one that I recently picked up, like I was saying, was Radiant Historia, and it's for the DS. And I heard all kinds of great things about it. People were comparing it to Chrono Trigger. There's a lot of time travel aspects in it, and it's really interesting. I don't think that the characters are as interesting or as fun as the characters in Chrono Trigger, but I think that overall it's a really solid RPG, and I'm enjoying it. Maybe I'll enjoy it more once I've seen the ending, because I'm currently at the final boss. So that's pretty much
Another
it.
game, you're at a final boss, but you're not giving up on this one.
Right.
Yeah. From what I can tell, it has some really interesting battle mechanics, like positioning
Yeah.
of your enemies and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's neat. I mean, it's not a huge mechanic, but it's fun to play around with. And, they set up things where they'll put a patch on the battlefield where if they stand on it, they can get healed, and so you can knock them off of it, and the enemies will all try to get back on it. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Did you guys play anything?
I've
Any old stuff?
played tons. I guess I'll try to limit it to you. You did 3, so I'll just name three games.
Okay.
I'll just do 3. Everybody do 3, because Don will talk forever if we let him. Sorry, Don. That was rude. Don?
I don't even know what games I would be talking about.
The one that I put the most time in earlier in this year, that it actually came out in 2012, was Tokyo Jungle for the PS3. And I'm not going to talk too much about that one right now. I have plans for that game in the future. But Tokyo Jungle is one of the most unique games I've played maybe ever. It's probably my second favorite game for the PS3. It is so much fun. I lost myself in it. graphically it kind of looks like butt, but as far as game,
it totally feels like a PSP game.
yeah, but it's terms of gameplay and like it's just so fun, like so unique, so unlike anything I've ever played, and I lost myself in it, man. I couldn't stop for a while. I streamed it so many times too. Like people are gonna remember that. I also last year I beat Metal Gear Solid 2.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm slowly playing through the Metal Gear Solid games. By that I mean I've played 2 of them. A lot of people really don't like Metal Gear Solid 2 compared to the first one because of the whole like Raiden thing, and I actually think I like them both about equal. Like if I had to pick one, I don't know that I could, because I think they're both really solid, and like there's equal things I like about both compared to the other one. So it wasn't meant to be a pun. Alright. And I didn't even realize why you were laughing.
I think that people. No, from what I hear, I think because I haven't played any of the Metal Gear games, people are kind of turned off because what you play as you don't play as Snake, you play as Raiden, right?
Yeah, you play Snake for like the first like 2.5 hours, and then after that it's all Raiden.
Yeah, but from what I've heard, it's a great game. People were just kind of disappointed that they kind of had the rug pulled out from under them, but ended up enjoying it anyway.
Yeah,
is kind of the consensus I've heard.
How mad can you be about that? It was like 2001. Like,
right? Yeah.
Looking back on it, I think 2 is far superior to 1.
See, I don't know.
Well,
But
there
then
was like sort of
3
like
fucking stomps on 2. So
Kojima put on this like whole guise like pre-release for Metal Gear Solid 2 that it was just like Snake, 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 Snake.
yeah.
Like Metal Gear Solid 2 is gonna be all about Snake, and then bam, Raiden. What's up? You know?
Yeah, pretty boy jumping about naked and stuff.
Now that there's
Kojima's
some
the ultimate
distance between now and then, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think I like them both about equal. There's stuff I like about both, and there's stuff I dislike about both. So
Alright.
there's that. What else? There's
Flappy Bird.
No, we already dedicated way too much time to Flappy Bird. Oh, friggin' Batman. I beat Batman Arkham Asylum last year, and
Nice.
that game is great. So there's that. There's Batman. If anybody else wants to talk about games that they beat that weren't from last year, go ahead.
Or played.
Yeah.
I don't know like when I played what games. I forgot. Like it's been so long at this point. And I've spent a lot of time playing like Animal Crossing and Pokemon, which are new games. So I don't know if I don't remember what old games that I played.
Okay.
Oh man.
I did play some Tokyo Jungle, and I've enjoyed it. Not as much as you.
No, I don't.
I haven't beaten it.
I don't know that anybody enjoys it as much as me. I feel like I'm kind of alone, but that's all right.
It definitely is unique. I have like some problems with it, but I want to compare the game to like sort of like a roguelike, or like a arcadey kind of game.
It kind of is.
That's good fun.
Yeah, I love Tokyo Jungle so much.
I know.
So much. I love that game.
I know.
Alright. Phil,
if you want to take over that.
Jeez. The number of Black Plague was in my backlog for a while, and I did finally get the chance to finish it not too long ago. So that's that. I really enjoyed it. It was considerably more unnerving than Overture was. So really good game. Definitely to recommend it.
Alright.
Phil, what you play? Nothing?
I got nothing. I can't think of it.
Alright, well.
Phil played a little game you might remember called Donkey Kong Country for the first time.
Is that true?
Not really.
No? Alright.
No way.
No.
I didn't...
I played Pokemon Crystal for the first time.
Oh yeah, I did that too. I played a lot of shit for the channel for the first time, but those don't count.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
played a
Garfield's
lot of
caught in the
Yeah,
act.
like Garfield caught in the act, and
Yeah,
fucking...
it's a great game.
yeah, sure. Best game.
Yeah.
Back to the Future. Woohoo. Yeah, who gives?
Oh man.
So that's our 2014 podcast. Now that we're all fucking exhausted and ready to pass out.
Yep.
I'm just glad we finished.
At least we're done.
Yeah, I'm just glad we finished
At least
it.
we're done making any videos until April.
No, we got plenty of stuff. We got plenty of stuff to make, man. I got a 3DS capture device I gotta use. Like Nick Stone, you donated like Link Between Worlds to me, and I haven't played that yet. I feel like I should do that for the channel.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I feel like I gotta do that. Like, and then
didn't we play a game to like raise funds to get a capture?
Yeah, we played Pokemon Crystal, and that's still gotta go up.
Yeah, but we got the funds, so.
Yeah,
we got the funds. We didn't do anything with them.
We still gotta beat.
I'm kidding.
Still gotta beat that.
It's not gonna be like
I'm kidding.
And we still gotta beat fucking Final Fantasy VII. Jeez, I feel like we've been playing that for the whole entirety of the year.
Oh my god. Speaking of which, I'll tell you guys later.
It's
great book for the listeners.
Yeah.
Way to leave everyone else hanging.
Oh, I was just gonna say I picked up Advent Children at the thrift store today for like $2.
I don't think it's even worth that.
That's all.
Just download it.
Anyway,
but
we had a good year last year. Here's to this one being good too. We're calling it quits. Good night.
Till next year.
Till
Good night.
Next week.
Night, everybody. Wait, next week?
No, it's a joke because this is gonna take so long. Never mind.
Well, you said we're calling it quits. I thought are we?
No, not like that. I mean,
I want to keep making videos.
I mean to the
rest in peace, AdamantDitto.
I mean to the podcast.
Oh jeez.